So, hey, Metalheads! Matters a Law radio show and YouTube channel has the honor to interview the ex-Routine Christ and currently on Wolfheart and on his own band, Full House Brew Crew, where he also sings. So, Vageliss, Karzis, welcome, and thanks a lot for the interview for being here. And my first question is, best player on Routine Christ, guitar player on Wolfheart, and singer and guitar player on Full House BC. I believe I'm speaking with a multi-talented musician. So how did you develop such abilities?
First of all, thank you so much for calling me. That's really great. Really
Okay.
honored. Thank you so much for you and your listeners.
Yeah.
Now, multi-talented, it's a really funny word for me to hear from someone. And I'll tell you why, because I never thought myself as a talented guy. And not that not that it's me that is saying that, it's the truth, actually. I'm not trying to be humbled right now. I'm just trying to be dead honest about it. And I was never talented at all, in music. I had no music background or anything
Oh.
like that. No family members were playing any instrument. Nobody was listening to good music in my family. So,
Oh, wow.
uh, yeah, I had pretty much zero background in the music, theory or anything like that. And so to be able to be called multi-talented, it's really honor for me. Because I worked really hard on every aspect of that. So I I study a lot of guitar for many years. I practice a lot. I study a lot of vocal singing. It took me years and years of disappointments and failures. And that's because sometimes, you're doing some bad shows and then you get videos of them and you go back home and start listening to them and seeing yourself and and I was looking at myself and I was like, okay, you are really confident, but your lack of, your lack of, voice, of course. And so since I had the confidence that I will make it happen, so the only thing I had to do is, put my mind on track and try work more and smarter. So that was basically my plan. So I start working a lot on that because basically the first you know part of my guitar playing was self-taught, and I never tried to be a really good guitar player. I was only thinking about writing music and playing rhythm guitar, so I didn't really care about getting too much better. I was just playing for fun.
Okay.
And some years later, it came to me that I need to do that more because I really enjoyed that. And that's where I start, practicing more and more and more. And since I got to do the vocals on my band, then I
Mhm.
decided that I need to be good on that. So I wanted to be how I wanted to sound like a singer that I would hire in my band.
Mhm.
So I try a lot. I try not to compromise. I was always like, okay, don't try that. You don't have to worry about that. So because I was stressing myself too much.
Okay.
And yeah, I got to the point that I was like, okay, I need to let myself loose a little bit, but it didn't work out. So I needed to get better, not just to let it go. So that's
Mhm.
what I just did. I would start practicing more. I did a couple of singing lessons. It didn't go that well. It didn't help me that much. I mean,
Okay.
took a couple of lessons because it didn't, feel good without, voice coach. I did a
Mhm.
couple, changed a couple, didn't like it. So just left it and worked it on my own. So
Oh.
here I am, yeah, trying to be, in one of the fastest bands in the world, playing guitar and
Mhm.
singing in my band, Full House
Yeah.
BC.
Cool. You're doing a nice job.
Thank you very much.
Yeah. Good. And how did metal come to your life?
Hmm. It was kind of weird because I never thought that I would like metal. I've heard only a couple of things in my life I didn't enjoy at all. And around at the age of 15, 16, as I told you, I had no good music background in family. So the only thing that we were listening is, some traditional stuff, not
Mhm.
really good, kind of rubbish.
Okay.
And I was in a high school and I had a friend that he was a really deep into metal, and we were working together for a project at school. So
Oh.
we spent some time together, and he was like, okay, let me put some music sometime. It's not like I'm gonna murder someone, just let me play some music. And I was like, okay, just put it on. Just don't turn it too loud. And it was like, he was like, okay, yeah, no worries. So he put the first song, and so he had a cassette from Metallica, and
Mm.
I think it was the Black Album. I think it was the Black Album. Now I try to recall it. I think it was Black Album. So Ender Sandman was playing, all the good stuff with Wherever I May Roam. It was actually a compilation, I think, the first songs of the Black Album and something else. And
Uh-huh.
I was like, oh, that seems to be a quite nice song. Okay, the next time we met again, the next day, I was like, okay, you can put that cassette again. Just yeah, just the three first songs you played. I was not really open on new songs, in
Uh-huh.
variety. So I was like, okay, put the same three songs again, please. And from that point, I was start listening more and more of Metallica, and I got really obsessed with them. And I, the next thing I remember is I'm trying to find a guitar to play, and I
Uh-huh.
got borrowed from a cousin of mine that a really old classical guitar, which costs like maybe 25 euros at the time. We didn't have euros, we had a
Okay.
different
Mhm.
currency. So it was like 15, 16 years old. I got stuck into the metal.
Okay. Wow, interesting story. And now back to the Rotting Cries days. I believe to be part of a lineup of a band as Rotting Cries had changed your life somehow. So how did it happen? And do you have good memories from that time?
Of course, I have good memories, and I have a lot of good memories. That's a really good thing, actually. Being in a band for 7 years, not having good memories, that would be real, really bad. Uh, it changed my life in a way that I didn't predict because I didn't knew what to expect, and it didn't change that much. It changed my life in a direction that I really wanted to. That it was my main focus was to quit my
Okay.
daily job, so I can be able to focus more on music and more on doing that thing. Because like most of the people, I didn't really enjoy my job that I was having. So it was really cool that I would be able to get away from that. Um, Unfortunately, it wasn't that you need more than a band as an income to be able to survive. So
Hmm.
I needed to do other stuff, but I was working so hard with Rotten Christ for I think it was the first 6 years out of 7. I would say there was some really hardcore years,
Hmm.
in terms of traveling and playing shows. We had
Okay.
too many shows and traveling because we had
Hmm.
not only the tour bus, you know,
Hmm.
1 month tour, European or whatever, US. But we had also weekend shows, and that was sometimes it was 2 or 3 times a month.
Hmm. Okay. Good. And you worked as a guest musician for Wolfheart, and that was the chance I had to see you playing last year in Belgium, by the way. And then you
Oh,
got
really?
promoted, yeah, to official guitarist.
Yeah.
I suppose that was a natural choice of the band since you showed a super performance live. So how has been your adaptation to the band concerned to the creative part?
So, oh, okay. Uh, to the creative part. So um, I have the experience of being the main guy on my band, Full House. So that's really natural for me to write most of the things and having uh, the last word, in everything that we're doing. So I really know how to deal with people that they are the main guys in the band. So in the creative process, I'm really, even with Rotten Christ, it was the same with Wolfheart. I'm pretty confident that I will have to do my thing. So with Wolfheart, it's quite easy going. The guys, Thomas is writing most of the music with
Yeah.
Jonas. the
Mm-hmm.
drummer, and then he sends me the songs, and he is like, okay, from 2.05 minutes of that song until 2.25 you play solo.
Okay.
So uh,
Okay.
yeah, so I'll have to bust my ass off to be able to write, to find something. The funny
Mm-hmm.
thing is that it's really challenging because Thomas is not a guy that writes songs all year long. I mean, he doesn't wait for a couple of years to make an album. He constantly writing. So
Mm-hmm.
when he gets to a point that he really wants to put something out, he's working a lot and he's really consistent and he works every day. So he gets something every day. So he's like,
Wow.
okay, I will send you a couple of songs this weekend and I want them 5 days later to be ready.
Wow.
And I'm like, okay, I'm okay, got it. I'm always up to a challenge. So, and he's really good with me. He doesn't, push me.
Mm-hmm.
He never, say anything. He's like, okay, I need some days more. He's like, okay, it's not possible. I'm sorry, but it's not possible. I'm like, okay, I work more. I work more. I am really up to a challenge. So I always say yes. Even though I may not have the time, I try to make it. I try to
Yeah.
push myself, sometimes, and it's really nice because the outcome is really good, and
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
people like it. So I'm really glad.
Yeah. And what are your personal impressions about Wolves of Karelia and the recent album from Wolfheart, for the ones who don't know, and the feedback of the fans, favorite songs?
Um, my feedback was quite good. I was really impressed by this album because since I was start talking about getting to Wolfheart, I start listening to everything, and I
Mm-hmm.
found some really brilliant moments in those albums. And I was like, okay, his writing process is like this. So I get to when you start, learning the song from a band or a songwriter, you get the formula a little bit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
I start getting it. But in Wolves of Karelia wasn't like that. So he changed his approach again. And I was like, oh, interesting. And I didn't expect that because he's a really groove songwriter, except from parts that they are really fast and blast beats and, this black, epic black metal, northern stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, the mid-tempo riffs that he creates are really awesome, and he created some really good songs on that album. I got really excited about it, and the good thing is that we got quite the same response from the people that follow the band all these years. Yeah, they got really enjoyed that. Unfortunately, we didn't have the chance to tour as
Yeah.
much as we wanted because of the
Yeah.
situation, but
Yeah.
I guess soon we will be back on the road and we will tour extensively.
Yes, yes. And I hope that. I'm waiting for that, actually. Good. Now let's speak about Full House Brew. So Bear Knuckle is the third album, and it is about to be released. The single "Unforgiving Land" is already available on all music platforms, and it will be also aired on Manos the Law show altogether this interview. So how has been the feedback of the fans so far?
Yeah, the first song that actually came out was Black Flag, and now it's the second one, The Unforgiving Land.
Mm-hmm.
The Unforgiving Land exploded, actually. I don't know how this happened. It's quite bizarre because it got into 87 playlists on Spotify.
Wow.
So that's a lot. Yeah, I didn't expect that. And uh, magazine started today, I think, to giving us the feedback and the reviews for the album, and it's quite astonishing. So it's going pretty well. We are
Great.
having a good deal with the label now that we're
Mm-hmm.
working, and we renew the contract for the next two albums, and we try to be precise and work as much as possible. So I start writing new material already. So
Oh, okay.
yeah,
All
yeah.
right.
No
Okay.
need,
And mm,
as soon as I get the bar high, I get a little bit stressed about it, and I need to put it even higher for the next album.
mhm,
So I hate being, I hate failing. So I try to work more and be more
mhm,
precise on how to work and be smarter and more creative. Not only in a way that I will produce just one more album, but
mhm,
also to do something, you know, more of ourselves,
mhm.
not so much about sounding some more like someone else.
Okay. All right. So could you compare the other two previous albums, Me Against You released in 2018 and Bet It All released in 2011 with Bare Knuckle and by the composition process perspective?
Yeah. Uh, the funny thing with all albums is I had the same approach. I put 100% of of myself onto this album. So I'm not saying that they're not mistakes, of course, but I'm saying that to myself because I truly believe that no matter how immature the first album might be for some people, compared to the next two albums,
Hmm.
uh, it's the best thing that I could do at the time, and it's
Oh, yeah, for
and
sure.
it's the first. Actually, it's the first songs I have ever composed in my life, and it was the first time I picked up a mic and sang and sing, and it was the first time I wrote solos. So it was the first time I did that thing. So for
Hmm.
me, it's to to be to be in a position to say that I have this album as a first album as an artist and as a songwriter. It still amazes me. It still amazes
Yeah.
me because many people think that okay, first album from Pantera, think everybody thinks that it's Cowboys from Hell, but it's not. It's the fifth or sixth, something like that. And
Hmm.
you know, people forget about how difficult it is to be you to create a good album.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
the same approach to the second album. And as I was touring with Rotten Christ, I was composing the Me Against You album, and I was not willing to settle, as I told you about the singing. So I was trying to find ways and to find better ways to compose and be a better songwriter. So
Hmm.
what I was start doing was I was studying like I was back in school. So I was studying not theory, but I was studying songs from the great artists. So I was uh, breaking down songs, and I was literally writing everything down on paper from a song that I was really enjoying at that time. And I was like, okay, what is he doing now? Okay, here's the intro. Okay, so there's a guitar with that kind of tone, and there's a rhythm guitar playing in the background. It's really low. So I was writing everything down. So that's the way I process myself into getting better on songwriting. So
Very cool.
it was quite, yeah, it was quite the same for the third one, but the third one was a bit easier, I would say, because I got already, some info on how to write music, so I didn't really break down too much of that. I was trying more to have more variety on composing. So, and that's what I'm going to do on the next one. I'm already thinking about having a little bit more weird structures on the song, not having
Hmm.
this typical, structure that we have used to do so far.
Okay. Okay. All right. And which is the current lineup from Full House Brew Crew? I know that there
The
were
cool,
some changes, yeah?
yeah. A good thing is that we didn't change anything since the previous album, so we stick
Ah,
with the same team. So it's
that's the
Alex on
same
the
team.
drums,
Okay.
yeah,
Hmm.
Spiros on the bass, and George on guitar. So from the previous album, I think it's from 2017, something like that. It's like
Hmm.
3 years or so. We stuck. Alex is the last guy that joined the band, and he's with us since then.
System. Okay. And do you intend to go touring with Full House in the future?
Yeah,
Good
It's
question.
yeah.
Let me take my
uh,
crystal ball. So let's see the
yeah, yeah,
future.
yeah, yeah. The thing is that we have already booked a show in Germany, okay, in
Uh-huh.
Oberhausen. So it's at the end of January. So
Oh, great.
I have no idea what's gonna happen. Like
Yeah,
everything
but
else. We're also having some, shows booked with Wolfheart, but still not knowing that if I'm gonna be able to perform there, if I'm gonna be able to travel. I have no idea because if something goes wrong, where
Mhm.
in a split second you're in the deep waters, trying to get out,
Yeah.
with quarantines and stuff like that. So it's not that easy. So we have booked already a show in Germany, but we'll see how it goes. Yeah, we definitely want to tour. It's this is the first priority, number one priority for us because writing music, it's for us is really normal. I just sit
Mhm.
down and write, and I know what I'm capable of. And the guys were like, cautious about this album, and I was like, you don't have to worry about, um, it's a mental problem for me. I cannot just put something
Mhm.
out. It has to be really good. So I didn't care so much about that. I care more about things that I cannot, control, like touring. It's not something that I can control. We
Yeah.
have
Mhm.
we are having a team that it's about to tour anywhere and everywhere and any day, and no matter for how long it's going to be. But we just need the opportunity, and as soon as we have the opportunity, we're on the road.
Yes. Okay. All right. So now, which equipment do you use or do you prefer?
Yeah, I 100% work with ESP right now. I have a deal. I'm not, it's not a deal, but I'm working with LTD. I'm pretty happy with the guys. And I've been working with them since I think 2015, something like that, when I started talking with them because the guys from Antichrist got into LTD. So I was like, okay, maybe I'll start talking with them. Previously, I had another contract with Warwick. It didn't work that well for me, so I
Uh-huh.
needed to change. So since the contract broke after 3 years, I was like, okay, I need to do something, to go somewhere else, find something that I really enjoy and it's going to be more, my style. And
Mhm.
since the first day I talked with the guys from LTD, they were like, yes, we want you. So immediately since then we worked together. Last
Mhm.
year they were kind enough when I asked them, I changed bands, oh, okay, I'm leaving Rotting Grass, I go to Wolford and I need the 7-string guitar. I'm like, oh yeah, you got it, man, which one you want? I would like to
Oh.
have this one. Yeah, you got it, okay, perfect. And the other day I was like, okay, I know the situation, how the situation is so far, and I know it's not easy for everyone, especially
Mhm.
the big companies, the huge names, the huge brand names. And I was like, yeah, but I would like to have one, you know, one more 7-string for Wolford because I need it because it's not that I need it for hobby, it's my job, I need it because when you're on tour and you play so often,
Yeah.
daily, anything can happen to your instrument, so you need always a backup one. So I was like, okay, either I will buy it or you can give it to me. So you
Mhm.
choose, and they were like, okay, yeah, you can have it, of course, So they sent it to me.
Oh.
They already know that, we put out the new album, so we had videos with that guitar, so everybody
Yeah.
was happy. They didn't have the reason, no, not to do that. So everybody's
Mhm.
happy. And in terms of pedal boards and stuff like that, we're using a Line 6 with full house, and usually I'm using a PV50 150 with Wolfheart, but not an endorsement, something like that. I just use
Mhm.
the best amplifiers I can find.
Mhm. Okay. And which are your main metal influences as a musician?
Okay. Uh, Father and Son, Holy Spirit for me is James Hetfield, Zach Wild, and Dimebag Darrell to start off. And
Okay.
that's my first three influences, the three main influences. Then it gets, the list is really big, Lamb of God, Godsmack, uh,
Mhm.
uh, more extreme bands like Slipknot, or even more extreme like Crisium, and
Oh,
it gets to a different, you know. I'm not so much a European kind of guy, you know. I don't
okay.
listen to many European bands. I'm mostly, you know, in the other part of the ocean, you know.
Okay.
I prefer
Oh,
US bands, even on the extreme, you know, even death metal bands. I really enjoy, you know, US metal bands like Nile, Cannibal
mhm.
Corpse, you know, Whitechapel, really great band. You know, they're really cool.
Okay, good. And which are your influences out of metal? Is there something
Ah,
different?
out of metal. Okay.
Yeah.
When I got a teacher, a guitar teacher, and I start learning guitar, you know, properly actually, um, I did a mistake of telling him that I need to know everything about guitar. So we
Oh.
got way deep to jazz guitar. So I wasn't really ready about, you know, wasn't really ready for this. But you know, you get to know some really bizarre artists into jazz, and really, you know, freaked out guys, you know, playing that
Mm-hmm.
instrument. So one of those was Django Reinhardt, which was a guy from the 50s. He was a gypsy guy. He was playing gypsy jazz, of course, and he was most famous because he was so great on improvising, and he had that burn on his left arm, so left hand actually. So he couldn't play
Mm-hmm.
with the rest of the fingers. He could only use two fingers. It was quite
Wow.
bizarre, you know. Yeah, one of the best guitar players of all times, actually. He was really, you know, controversial guy. He was gambling a lot, drinking a lot, you know, spending his money. He didn't want to play sometimes, so he was like, you know, a bit weird guy. And you can find
Mm-hmm.
only a couple of videos on, you know, online. There was no cameras back then. It was not that easy
Yeah.
to find him. And mostly, you know, was from gypsy jazz. You know, Tria Rosenberg was really great. It was three guys. I think there were two brothers and a cousin, something like that. You know, gypsy families work like that, work that way.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
Jimmy Rosenberg was really great influence. Other than that, I wouldn't go to the rock scene because I'm not really a huge fan of rock scene.
Mm-hmm.
I go to the straight to the extremes. So I go or metal or jazz, maybe something like that. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. And now I have a situation, okay, a classical situation as well. So you are supposed that you are a bad guy and got in trouble and had life imprisonment as a sentence, and you can have nothing with you but 3 albums that you can listen for the rest of your life because one of the guards of the prison is a nice guy and gave you them as a gift. So which albums would you choose and why?
That's so easy. Black Album, Far Beyond Driven from Pantera, and Blessed Hill Ride from Black Label Society.
Okay, that was
Yeah,
really easy. Most of
yeah.
the people they get like, no, I need 5 minutes more to think about because it's
No, no,
hard.
because
Not
if you
for
say,
you.
yeah, if I have to choose one, then the debate is, you know, it's hard. But if I have to choose, you know, three, it's quite easy. You know, I get those
Yeah,
three.
yeah. Oh, that's great. All right, and to finish our interview, would you like to leave a message to your fans who are watching or listening to us?
Yeah, if there's any fans out there, thank you so much for the support all these years, or you're a newer fan or supporter, you know, thank you so much for everything. Hope to see you all guys soon, on stage, off stage. Take care of yourself, you know, and the time will come soon.
Yeah. Okay.
Ah,
So thanks. Yeah. Or sweet kids. Also there.
yeah. Say
Great.
hi, say hi.
Hello. I think he will not say it, but
Yeah.
sweet. All right. So thanks again, yeah, for your time. Thanks you all for watching and listening to us and stay heavy.